absolutely delighted to welcome you to our Milton Keynes to Paris cycle presentation. I'm going to hand over to the lovely Emma from Mellow Jersey, who's going to talk you through this very exciting cycle opportunity we have at Willan Hospice. Thank you, Emma.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Emma. I'm from Mellow Jersey Cycling Tours. We are very excited to be working with Willan Hospice on this Milton Keynes to Paris cycle next September. So just up front, I'll just run through very quickly what we'll cover in this briefing. We will keep it very brief, but obviously if you did have any questions or anything about any of the material here, feel free to get in contact with either myself or Dawn, and we'll be happy to answer any of your questions. So we'll just run through very quickly who Mellow Jersey is. Dawn will say a bit more at the end about Willan Hospice and the work that they do there. We'll talk to the challenge itself. We'll talk over the route, the day-by-day route itinerary. We'll run over what's included in the package. We'll look at a typical day, so what the riding looks like and how we run things on a typical challenge. We'll run over a little bit about training and preparation for the event, and then we'll hand over to Dawn to talk about fundraising and Willan Hospice. And of course, questions if you follow up via email with us, very happy to answer those. Okay, so who are we? So Mellow Jersey, we are a cycling tour operator predominantly. We run challenges like this for corporates and charities all over the UK and Europe. We also take people to European sportive packages. We run cycling tours, again, all across Europe. So Mallorca, Spain, Italy, France, wherever people want to go. We do point-to-point cycling challenges, and we also run training camps in Mallorca and Calpe. So this is what you really want to hear about. This is the challenge itself. So your challenge is to cycle 270 miles with 12,000 feet of climbing over 4 days from Milton Keynes to Paris. So you'll be leaving from Willan Hospice in Milton Keynes, and 4 days later you will be getting there under your own pedal steam to the Eiffel Tower in Paris. So there's a couple of route highlights here. So day one, we've got Chiltern Hills. Day two, we've got the Surrey Hills. We're going through the picturesque Berkshire countryside. We're going to be doing a section on the Avenue Verte cycle path, which is a traffic-free cycle path in northern France. And then towards the end of the challenge, you'll be cycling along the River Seine on your victory run into the Eiffel Tower. So all in all, it's a great challenge and a really superb achievement. UK to Paris is really one that's on most people's cycling bucket list, so it's a good one to tick off, and all in all in aid of a very worthwhile cause. Okay, so let's go day by day. So stage one, we're going from Milton Keynes to Woking. So we've got 78 miles here with 3,900 feet of climbing. So it's a good chunky start to the day, to the challenge, sorry. So we'll head off from Milton Keynes. The way that this challenge is structured, you will not stay night before as part of the package, but you will leave directly from Milton Keynes in the morning. But there will be a briefing beforehand about how things will run on day one to prepare you for the event. So we're heading south out of Milton Keynes, through down towards the Chiltern Hills. So there's a few little cheeky climbs in there. For those of you that have ridden that area before, it is a little bit challenging, but nothing that's too much for any cyclist with the right training. We then head through into Berkshire, through Maidenhead, Windsor, all those lovely areas there, and then work our way down to Surrey, finishing up in Woking for the first evening at the end of day one. Day two, we'll be heading from Woking down to Dieppe, which via the port of Newhaven. So today's a little bit shorter. This day is 64 miles with 3,300 feet of climbing. And the reason we keep this fairly short is you have to get a ferry at the end of the day. So it's just important that everyone gets in plenty of time to get the ferry at the end of this day here. So we'll be setting off from Woking into the Surrey Hills. So again, some nice climbs, but the reward for that is some beautiful scenery. Heading down towards Crawley and then cutting across towards Lewes and down through the edge of the South Downs National Park, and then heading down into Newhaven. And then we come into Newhaven, we regroup just outside the ferry terminal, and then there's a few logistics in place to get you onto the ferry. In terms of paperwork and vans and bikes since Brexit, and then we load onto there. You have dinner on the ferry, and then you just have a short ride at the other side to our hotel in Dieppe. So you'll be set up in northern France, ready to carry on with your journey for the next day. Day three, you're now into northern France. So we're going from Dieppe to Beauvais. So we've got 70 miles today and a lot less climbing, so only 2,000 feet of climbing. And today, the bulk of the riding is done on the Avenue de Verte cycle path, which is traffic free, really just lovely, pretty scenery, fairly flat, and you're just riding through the countryside without having to worry about lots of cars and just chatting with your cycling companions. So it's a nice recovery day, really, just an easier day just to recover from those hilly days you've done before. And then we come back out off the cycle path, bit of traffic section there on the way into lunch, and then back onto the cycle path and then into Beauvais at the end of day 3. Day 4, the Victory Parade into Paris, so 52 miles, so shorter again, 2,800 feet of climbing, and the bulk of that is done at the start of the day. So we've got a few little hills at the start of the day, nothing big, nothing mountainous, just a few climbs before lunch. We then carry on our journey into Paris, and as we come into Paris, we go onto a cycle path that tracks along the River Seine. And then again, we regroup similar to how we did with the ferry, and then ride into the Eiffel Tower together. So you can all have some victory photos there. And then carry on cycling just for a couple of miles to our hotel where we finish the trip. That evening, there'll be dinner in Paris and then an overnight. And then you make your way back to the UK at your leisure on the following morning. So here's what's included in your event package. So the point of this is that we've put this package together. So all you really need to think about is riding your bike, and we will take care of everything else, including all your logistics, route planning, baggage transfer. So really all you have to do is think about having a great time and riding your bicycle. So the package includes 4 nights accommodation on a twin share basis. There is some single occupancy rooms available for a supplement, but those are limited. So if you do want one of those, it's best to get in quick. Ferry crossing Newhaven to Dieppe, that's a cycle ferry crossing. So as I mentioned earlier, you will cycle onto the ferry and off the other side. You've got all your meals included, so 4 breakfasts, 4 lunches, 4 dinners. Refreshment stops on riding days, so those will typically be done from the van en route or at local cafes. Lunches we have in a local cafe or a restaurant on the route, and dinners are either in the hotels that we stay or at a restaurant a short walk away. Breakfast obviously in the hotels every morning. Vehicle and ride support, so there'll be a van that takes your luggage between hotels, and there will also be cycling guides on the road to ride with you as support. So it's up to you whether you choose to ride with a guide who will have the navigation, or we do provide you with the routes that if you'd rather navigate your own day with a small group of friends or come out at your pace, that's totally fine too. Luggage transfer, we take the luggage in the van, and you can have a main luggage and a day bag that you can access during the day if you need that at the stops. TPX files for route guidance, as I mentioned earlier, and then we will also bring your bicycle back to Milton Keynes for you at the end of the challenge from Paris. Not included, so single supplement, as I mentioned earlier, return travel from Paris, that's your own return travel. Most people tend to just jump on the Eurostar or catch a flight back from Paris. There's option to ride back if you'd like to. That's obviously your choice if you'd like to do that. Drinks with lunches, so water's provided with lunch, however, and you can purchase other drinks at your own expense. Sports nutrition, we tend to find that it's best not to provide this. It's better to use products that you're used to. So if you'd like to bring your own sports nutrition, just have that available in your bags. Extras in hotels and travel insurance, and it is specified on the booking form that you need to have travel insurance that specifically covers you for cycling. So we do just need you to check that, and that also covers you in terms of if there's any requirement for cancellation. Okay, so let's talk through a typical day on the trip, and this is just so you get a gauge of how things work and what to expect if you're to join this tour. So we typically get started fairly early with an early breakfast at the hotels, and the reason for that is really to maximise your recovery in the evening. So we like to get you out and about on the roads and then finish your day and have a bit of time in the evening to relax, explore where you are, socialise, and really just recover as much as you can for the next day. So the bags will be available for loading, the vans will be available for loading your bags straight after breakfast. And then we cycle out in the morning, and we'll have a break mid-morning for coffee and refreshments, as I said earlier, either from the van or from a local cafe. We then carry on cycling into lunch and carry on a bit more cycling, and then check into the hotel after that. Evenings wise, people normally tend to have a couple of drinks when they get in, chill out for a bit. These kind of trips are generally fairly sociable. And then each evening we'll do a briefing before dinner where we'll talk through the plans for the next day's riding and any logistics that you need to know about for the next day. Dinner will be either in the hotel or locally, and then early to bed or not, as you choose, and then repeat that for the next day. Training and preparation. So we cover this really just to make sure that you are fully prepared for the challenge, but this is really for your benefit as much as ours. We really just want you to come into the challenge fully prepared for what's ahead of you, and just so you can really get the most out of the experience and feel that you're ready to tackle it. So this can get as complicated as you want, but it really comes down to 3 very simple tips from our perspective. So it's important to be riding regularly and well up to the challenge. So we find that short, regular riding is better than long, infrequent ones, just to get out on your bike regularly. They're not huge distances we're covering here, so it's so really just making sure you're getting some regular riding in preparation. Multi-day riding is a very important point. So on this challenge, you'll be riding 4 days in a row. It's not very often at home that you would replicate that as part of your normal cycling routine. So if you do a couple of days riding back to back, just schedule in a couple of weekends where you're doing 2 rides over the weekend, just to make sure that you are you're ready to be getting back on the bike again for the next day. And thirdly, just replicate the distances in climbing that you'll be doing on the challenge. So just so you've got that comfort in the back of your mind that you are capable of doing those kind of 60, 70, 75 mile days, and some of the hills that are involved, it's good just to get a few practice runs at that. Okay, and then we've got a dedicated website where you can sign up for the challenge. So you can find the link to this on the Willen Hospice website, and it'll link you through to the Mellow Jersey website where you can sign up for the challenge, and we will get you all booked in. Okay, so I'll hand over to Dawn now. He's going to talk a bit about Willen and the great work they do.
Brilliant. Thank you, Emma. So yeah, Willen Hospice. So we're based in Milton Keynes, and we offer support to people with life-limiting illnesses. It's a very difficult time for our patients and obviously for their family and their friends. We have 15 rooms at the hospice, and they now all overlook beautiful Willen Lake. Some of the rooms, or most of them now, you can open the doors and the bed can be pushed out onto the balcony, and people can hear the birds and people walking past, our cyclists. So it's a very peaceful and caring environment. The average stay at the hospice is actually 14 days. So some people come for pain relief, some support to get them comfortable, and then they go back home again. And other people obviously will come towards the end of their life, and we make sure that they are pain-free and that they and their families are very well looked after. We also look after up to 300 people every day with our Willen at Home team. So we'll go into people's homes, and depending on where they are on their journey will depend how often we go to see them and what support we offer. But again, it's really amazingly trained nurses that come out and make sure that everybody's okay, and obviously helping with any questions that you have. So we offer lots of services. We do need to raise a lot of money to make sure we can offer them 365 days of the year, 24 hours a day. So without any support from our fundraisers, so some people obviously that would look to take on this trip, we ask them to fundraise for Willen, and without any support with the money we get from the government, we would open at 9 o'clock on a Monday and we'd close at midday on a Tuesday, because our funding would run out. So we need to make sure that with the support of our amazing community that look at things like our shops and our lottery, and then the part I look after, so the area of running and obviously cycling. So this is where all of our money goes, to make sure people are as comfortable as they can be at the end of their lives. Okay, so that's Willen Hospice and just some of the areas that we cover. So fundraising. So we're really delighted to work with Mellow Jersey to offer this very bespoke, very safe, but fun cycle trip from the hospice at Milton Keynes over to the Eiffel Tower at Paris. So the costs are £945, and that covers all of the things that Emma's gone through, including your hotels, obviously all the support that Mellow Jersey give you. So on registration, you pay £900, non-refundable fee, and then the remaining £745 can be covered 2 different ways. So you can self-fund, which means 60 days before we go on this trip, you will be invoiced to pay the £745. Now, on top of the cost, obviously all this is to raise money for the hospice. So we ask people to aim to raise a minimum of £1,000. And that is the money that comes to the hospice to ensure we can carry on caring for our community. Now, a lot of that money may come in towards the date that you're cycling, during the cycle challenge and after. So it is something that we know won't necessarily be there before you go. But on self-funding, we do ask if anyone could try and raise at least £1,000. Now, there's the flexi option, so not everyone can afford to pay the remaining costs of £745. So you are able to fundraise that on your online fundraising page, and then Willen will be invoiced 75 days before the trip to pay that £745. So we just ask you to make sure that money is on there, and obviously that you're working towards the £1,000 fundraising. That's the part that comes to Willen to support our services. So two very simple options. We're really open to talk if people want to help with maybe making instalments for their deposit, or even, and obviously, instalments to pay towards their costs if that helps them budget. And Emma at Mellow Jersey is very happy to talk to people in how they can support in those areas. So how are you going to fundraise? So what I do as Challenges Manager is help you, and we put every step of the way. I suppose it's also every pedal going around on your bike. So we have lots of ideas for fundraising. We have resources, so we can provide banners and balloons and buckets and t-shirts to help you with any fundraising events you would like to do. What's really popular is bake sales. Everyone loves a cake. It's quizzes. Talk about disco bingo, which I think I might be the only person that's ever been to. But that's a great way to raise money and get everyone singing. And also raffles and auctions. So once you've registered, I'll arrange to meet up with you and we'll talk through how you would look at doing your fundraising, what your network is like. Maybe your company will match fund. Maybe you could do a cheese and wine. We have contacts with local restaurants and pubs that do quizzes, so we can introduce you to them, so that way you can use their venue to help raise money towards your cycling challenge. So part of Team Willen, we have to be a team. We're a team of fundraisers here at Willen Hospice, and we obviously support our amazing clinical team. So without us raising money, there would be no nurses and doctors to support people at a difficult time. So part of Team Willen, so we arrange training rides and social meetups, so you can get to know the people that you will be spending a few days with while you're doing your cycling challenge. We have a WhatsApp group where people often share when they're going to be doing a cycle ride, seeing if people want to join them. So again, it's a great way to meet all these other cyclists that you'll be with. People share training plans, and we have some here at Willen that we can share with you. Look to book a bike maintenance evening. So we'll talk a little bit about the bike maintenance side en route and what's provided, but actually it really is helpful if you've got a knowledge of how to look after your bike to make sure you're as safe as you can be. And we'll also arrange to meet in our cafe at the hospice for a good luck send-off for you and your families, because your families may have been missing you while you've been doing all your training. So this way we obviously send you with the good wishes of Willen, and then look forward to seeing your photos and celebrations at the end at the Eiffel Tower.
Okay, as I mentioned earlier, we are available for any questions, so our contact details are available on the Willen Hospice website for this page. So please do get in touch if you have any questions about the event itself or the fundraising, and we very much hope to see you next September.
Thank you, Emma. So yeah, any questions, please go to our website, and there's a link there where you can contact either Emma or myself, and we look forward to seeing you on your bike at the hospice next September. It'll soon be here, and then seeing you celebrate in France a few days later. Thank you.